Good morning. Here we are again, remotely doing intermediate Spanish. And I hope you're all there, and I hope I'm all here. So, I was trying to review exactly where we were, and I had not made a mark, but the chapter that we're dealing with, the lesson we're dealing with, introduces imperatives, or what I also call command forms. Our problem with our command forms in Spanish is, of course, that we have the formal and the familiar, we have the singular and the plural. So it gives us 4 variations, and then we have the positive and the negative, which has a different word order. So I'm going to ask you to make sure you understand all the details. If not, you ask a question. If you don't ask a question, I will assume that you know exactly how to formulate a command. As you've noticed, that they start out with the plural for some reason of the ustedes command, the formal, and they point out that the N is the signature, the final N is the signature of the plural. We're used to that. The thing that you have to remember is that in the formal commands, you're going to switch your signature vowel in the ending. For AR verbs, it's going to be an E. For ER and IR verbs, it's going to be an A. So you kind of have to do that reversal in your mind. The other thing that's different with commands is that a positive command has object pronouns tacked on the end. And a negative command has them placed before the conjugated form of the verb, which is the pattern you're used to in the indicative. Questions so far? Okay, and where we get the formal command is we take the first person singular of the indicative, we lop off the O, and we add the endings to that. So that's a little different. So we get, instead of hablo, I speak, it's hable usted. Hable usted, with the usted being understood most of the time. Or habla tú. The familiar uses the native vowel, the signature or the theme vowel in the command. The difference between the two and the vosotros, the singular and the plural, is you add the D to the habla or hablad. And in the other verbs that don't end in an A, you still do the same pattern.
Tom, could you just explain your computer problems again? Because they're wondering if the chart is coming.
Oh, the chart is not coming because my computer is giving me a fit. It's not connecting to the printer, and so I wanted to print it to just do a second proofread. I will send it to you electronically, but I have to make sure I have your email addresses. So let me just put mine up there once more in case you don't have it. will get to me, and then I will send to you the chart that I have worked on. If I can find it again, it's lost in my computer, but I'll reinvent it if needed. I've had a frustrating morning. I hope yours has been better than mine. So, when we use the negative command, either formal, familiar, or singular, plural, the object pronouns come before the noun. If we're using a positive command, they get tacked on the end. And so we get to page 258, the bottom half in Grammatica. Entren ustedes. What's the infinitive? Entrar, an AR verb. Señores, pasen ustedes, por favor. Gentlemen, come in, please. Pasar is the verb. Pasen is the form used here. This is the plural. If we go to the singular on the next page, excuse me, I'm not sure why they do it this way. Okay, if we go to page 260, bottom of the page, el imperativo afirmativo empleando tú. So they started out with the negative familiar, or the plural formal, and they did that in the positive and the negative. Then they launch out to the nosotros form, the let us do something. And again, they're using both the positive and the negative, and showing you that on the positives, the object pronouns get tacked on the end. For example, the third group under imperativo empleando nosotros or nosotras, they have pongámonos. Pongámonos. Now, if it were just pongamos, let's put. Now, with the reflexive ponerse, we know that means to put on. So what they've done here is say pongámonos So what's happened is this S has dropped off. We've kept the stress on this syllable, so we have to write the accent. Pongamos el móvil en la mesa. Pongámonos el pañuelo. Let's put on our kerchief. So, pongámonos, all of those first person commands, when they use a reflexive that gets tacked on the end, the most drops the S. Now we go to the familiar commands. They're a little easier in some ways. If we look at the bottom of page 260, Pepe, habla con Cristina. Habla looks just like our indicative, but it goes with the singular too. Ramon, toma café. Ray, drink coffee. Esteban, paga la cuenta. Steve, pay the bill. Rafael, toca la guitarra. Rafi, play the guitar. Then we go to the negatives at the bottom of, excuse me, page 262. We go to the, what I call, which is true, the subjunctive form in the negative. So if we look at the first example, we have a positive and a negative. Pepe, habla con Ana. Pepe, talk with Ana. No hables con Trini. Don't talk with Trini. So what's happened here in the negative, we've gone back to the other vowel than the theme vowel, and in the positive, we're using the theme vowel. Ramon toma café. No tomes tequila, etc., etc. The pattern they are giving there contrasts the positive with the negative. Now, when we get down to certain verbs, we'll recall that we take the first person singular of the indicative, drop the O, and use the one with the G in it for the root. So, let's see, in about the fifth example, Juana, tráeme el periódico. Bring me the newspaper. No me traigas las revistas. The traigas uses the G, the one with the G in it, from traigo. Lola, oye Ana. No oigas a Felipa. Lola, hear Anna, don't hear Felipa. From oigo, oigas. Then we get some thoroughly irregular ones. Look at the third from the last example, page 262. Sara, ve al teatro. Now the problem with be is it is both the form of the verb ir and ver. So you have to use the context. So ve al teatro means go to the theater. If it said ve el teatro, it would be see the theater. No vayas al cine. Vaya is the root form for ir in the subjunctive and therefore in the formal or in the negative command and the formal commands. As I said, we tack personal pronouns onto the positive and not the negative. So if we look at the next to the last instance, Laura, acuéstate temprano. Go to bed early. No te acuestes tarde. Don't go to bed late. So in the negative, the te comes before the verb. In the positive, it comes tacked on to the end of the verb. At the top of 263, we have the vosotros commands. The positive command is simple. You take the infinitive form, replace the final R with a D. The second example here, decid eso. From decir, to say. So decid eso means vosotros, y'all, say that. Estudiad algo. Y'all study something. Spanish, preferably. Command forms, specifically. Now, sentaos. What happened here? Sentaos. Os is the reflexive plural of vosotros in the object form, and the D disappeared from the sentad. Sentaos, sit here, you all, my buddies, vosotros. Haced eso, do that. Now, you'll notice in the right-hand column, it says the D disappears when os is added, except in the form idos, go away. Because ir changed to id. If you drop the D, it would be ios. And that's why they retained the D. If there's an answer to the why, that's why. Why questions are really kind of curious when you're studying a language. Things just are as they are.
Oh, we have a question.
Okay, question.
And I'm going to butcher it because it's in Spanish. Professor, tengo una pregunta que no tiene nada que ver con la lección de hoy. Esa es en español la expresión. Hoy tengo un día negro. Is it used to say, today I have a bad day? Muchas gracias, Brian.
That's what I think you're right. Hoy tengo un día negro. I have literally a black day, but it's just a bad day. It's just a way of saying it. And I think, what was the first part of the question? I don't think I addressed that.
Professor, tengo una pregunta que no tiene nada que ver con la lección de hoy.
The hoy, yeah. Well, it does have to do with today, as it turns out. Other questions?
Would you at some point in today's lesson be able to review the command forms for to in both the positive and negative?
Sure. Let's go to where they okay, the to command for a regular verb just uses the form that looks like the third person singular. If you look at the top of page 261, Pancho baila con Maria. That is the positive to form. And reason that we know that because it doesn't have to say to, they're using first names here. Baila, dance, okay? Alfredo, descansa un poco, descansa. Rest. And finally, Silvia, no, the fourth one down. Siéntate aquí. Okay, baila, descansa, sienta, AR verbs. Okay, what's different here is that the reflexive gets tacked onto the end of the positive command. Now, if you look at the negative commands on page 262, we would say, no bailes. We'd use the Don't dance. In the negative with an object, we say no te sientes aquí. Don't sit here. If you look on 262, you'll see all these AR verbs that change the A in the positive to the E in the negative. Pepe habla con Ana, no hables con Trini. Concha, escribe un poema, no escribas un ensayo. Now the thing that can happen here is you'll get really confused because this verb is sentar. But we know we have the verb sentir. And so we're switching vowels in the endings, so we're gonna get really confused at first. So if I said don't sit here, no te sientes aquí, we know it's from sentar. If I say don't feel that way, no te sientas así. No te sientas así. That's confusing because we're switching the vowel, the characteristic vowel, but these two verbs are so similar that we just have to kind of keep the AC/DC available in our brains. So let's go to back to 261, bottom of the page. We have some short ones. We have some shortened ones for these verbs: decir, hacer, ir, poner, salir, ser, tener, and venir. And we'll talk about saber in a minute. Enrique, di la verdad. Tell the truth. Dime tu nombre. Tell me your name. Now, how would we change that to the negative? No digas, don't say, don't tell lies, for example. No digas mentiras. I think that's in your book. Mentira, a great word. A lie. Mentir is the verb to lie. So how would we say that without this verb? Just say don't lie. No mientas. No mientas. Don't lie. Don't tell a lie. Don't tell a lie. Don't lie. This is the noun. This is the verb. So if we look at the bottom half of 261, we see all of these that are shortened forms of the verb, basically grabbing the first syllable and using it. This is in the familiar affirmative. Okay? Di la verdad, tell the truth. Dime tu nombre, tell me your name. Haz lo que te digo, do what I tell you. Hazlo ahora, do it now. María, ve al mercado. Ve al mercado. Ve al mercado. What does that mean? That's from ir. Go to the market. What if we had said, ve el mercado? This is not from ir, it's from ver, to see. So, we have some identical forms here. This can mean either see something or go there. That can be confusing. So that's just a heads up. As you can see, we have ve al mercado, go to the market, and the next one we have Ramón ve esa película, see that movie. Same form, two different verbs. I'm pointing these things out that can be confusing, so even though they've juxtaposed them, you can see why. So watch out for ve. Now, are you still confused? Or you think you just need to kind of live with it for a little while? Okay, let's look at some of these examples at the bottom of page 261. Enrique, di la verdad, dime tu nombre. Say the truth, tell me your name. Or tell the truth, tell me your name. Di from decir. That's the familiar tu form. Pepe, haz lo que te digo. Hazlo ahora. Pepe, do what I tell you, do it now. Look how lo gets tacked onto the as when we just we don't have a more we just have the one pronoun as the object. Haz lo que te digo, do the thing that I tell you. Hazlo, do it now. María, ve al mercado. Ve con Juan, go to the market, go with John. And in this case, we know it means to go. Because you don't say look at the market. You don't say see at the market. You go to the market. Ramón ve esa película. See that movie. Vela esta noche. Now, vela. What's going on here? Well, they just tacked the la onto ve because la stands for película. Alfredo, pon el libro aquí, allí. Put the book there. Ponte el sombrero. Put on your hat. Ponte. Reflexive, tacked on the end of the affirmative command. Estela, sal ahora mismo, sal con Ana. Go out or leave with, leave now, right now, leave with Ana. Pepe, sé profesor. Carlos, sé ingeniero. That's the first person singular of what verb? Yo sé. In this case, it's an imperative. It's a command form. Sé profesor. Be a professor. Pepe, Carlos, sé ingeniero. Be an engineer. I don't know if they're doing that in a mock play or if they're just telling them what career to follow. So, ten, ben, sal, be. Be has two meanings depending on the context. As, di, all of these are the two commands for those irregular verbs. On one, two.
We're on 261.
Right.
The second sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Pepe has lo que te digo.
Mm-hmm. Hazlo ahora.
Why not Pepe Hazlo, like Hazlo together? Que te digo.
Well, in this case, it's because lo is only part of the expression loque. Loque is always separate. Loque is the thing that, or what, in this case. In other words, Pepe, do what I tell you. Do it now. Hazlo ahora. Do it now. Loque always goes together. Pepe, haz lo que te digo. Loque travels together as a separate expression. A lo is like a neuter lo. It means what or the thing that. Every time you see loque, it's going to be like that. Now, the to command in the imperative, also in the negative. And here we'll be reverting to what I call the subjunctive form in the negative. Pepe habla con Ana, no hables con Trini. Talk with Ana, don't talk with Trini. Ramon, toma café, drink coffee. No tomes tequila, don't drink tequila. Conche, escribes un poema, no escribas un ensayo. You see how the vowel in the endings of the verb is going to switch back and forth depending on whether it's positive or negative. Jorge, siéntate aquí. Seat yourself, sit down here. No te sientes allí. Don't sit over there. So the negative uses what we call the subjunctive. Juana, tráeme el periódico. No me traigas las revistas. So you see the form using the G that came from the original traigo. And the next one, oigo, would be yo oigo, I hear. Lola, oye Ana, hear Ana. No oigas a Felipa, don't listen to or hear Felipa. third from the last one, Sara, ve al teatro. Okay, ve, is that from ear or is that from ver here? It's from ver to see, from ear to go. And the first clue is al teatro, because that wouldn't be seeing a theater, that would be going to the theater. No vayas al cine. Don't go to the movie. Lara, acuéstate temprano. Notice on these positive commands, the object pronouns are getting tacked on the end. No te acuestes tarde. In the negative, the pronoun comes before the verb. Felipe, ven a las 4, come at 4. No vengas a las 5:30. Don't you come at 5:30. It takes some getting used to. These command forms, because you have 4 different varieties. You have the singular, plural, formal, and familiar, and then you have the negatives of all of them. And so you have to kind of get used to the changes that accompany each combination. So if we look at page 263, these are the vosotros commands. No digáis eso. No estudiéis tanto. No sentéis aquí. No hagáis eso. Don't say that. Don't you all say that. Don't you all study so much. Don't you all sit here. Don't do that. The positive, decid eso. Estudiad eso. Algo. Sentaos aquí. Haced eso. Now what happened with sentados? The D dropped. It just was more natural. Sentados was too hard for Spanish to say, so the D disappears, except when ir is the verb. And that's because ios would be what it would be, but it's not. It keeps the D. It's the only one that keeps the D. Idos. And what does that mean? This is go. This is reflexive of vosotros. So that means y'all go away or go leave. The subject here is vosotros or vosotras, depending. But this would be, when you see this verb, you know this is the subject. It's only true with ear.
Why bother learning the vosotros rules? Why not just use the imperative from ustedes?
Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a social issue. The formal you use as a form of respect. The familiar you use as a form of familiarity, literally. So that's why I say the guideline is, well, do you use first names with the people, or you do call them Mr. or Mrs. or whatever? That's the difference. If you're ever in a situation where you don't know, go to the formal. You would not be insulting to do that. If you use the familiar with someone you should use the formal with, it's kind of got an insult built into it. Okay, let's look at the ejercicios orales. I wish I could hear you. Okay, so mi amigo y yo no vamos al concierto. My friend and I are not going to the concert. So someone's telling us to go. Vayan ustedes. Vayan. That's from ir, vaya, that form. Okay, mi amigo y yo no estudiamos italiano. Study it, you all. Estudienlo. Estudienlo. Notice the E in the ending of the verb, estudien. And because we attach the lo to it, we have to keep the stress in the same place by showing it with an accent. Estudienlo. Study it. Mi amigo y yo no volvemos tarde a casa. We're coming back late. We're coming home late. No vuelvan ustedes tarde a casa. Don't come back late. Come home late. Nope. Don't return home late. How's that? Or don't come back home late. Number 4. Mi amigo y yo dormimos en nuestra clase de historia. My friend and I sleep in history class. No duerman ustedes en su clase de historia. Don't you all sleep in your history class. Now, if we change that to a vosotros form, that's our infinitive. Our first person singular begins with duermo. So, duerma is the subjunctive form. Oops. So, duerma is our basic subjunctive. So we add the endings as needed. No duermas, tú. No duerma, usted. Durmais. You just change the vowel from the E to the A in the subjunctive or the command form. No durmais vosotros. Don't sleep in class. I'm putting you to sleep. So, of these examples here, I want to make sure you know what they mean. Number 5, mi amigo y yo no jugamos al tenis. My friend and I are not playing tennis. Indicative. Jueguen ustedes al tenis. Subjunctive as a command. Number 6, mi amiga y yo no pagamos nuestras cuentas. My friend and I do not pay our bills. Páguenlas. Pay them, y'all. Okay, paguen. In order to get the E, we have to have this silent U, remember. Pagar is the infinitive. So all of the subjunctive forms are going to have this silent U before the E. Okay, let's go to number 10, top of page 264. What's our infinitive here? Divertirse. Divertir. What's our cognate in English? Divert. Okay, divert oneself is like entertain yourself, have fun. So we use this in all of those meanings. I'm catching my badge on my microphone here. Maybe you're hearing the static. Not only that static, but the static coming out of my mouth. Okay, so number 10, top of 264. Diviértanse un poco. So, mi amigo y yo no nos divertimos nunca. My friend and I never have fun. Have a little fun. Diviértanse un poco. At least a little bit, right? Mi amigo y yo no aprendemos francés. Apréndanlo ustedes. Apréndanlo. Notice the aprendan, aprender, changes the E to the A. And it's a positive command. You tack the lo right on the end of it. Apréndanlo, which shifts, well, it doesn't shift the accent. We have to write the accent to show that we're not changing the stress syllable. Mi amigo y yo leemos diarios malos. I don't know what they mean by diarios malos. Diarios means newspapers. My friend and I we read bad newspapers. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. No los lean. Don't read them. You get the picture. Now, 14 and 15 make use of that somewhat irregular form that derives from the first person singular of hacer and the indicative, which is hago. So we use that root in the subjunctive forms. Number 14, mi amigo y yo no hacemos el trabajo que tenemos. Háganlo ustedes. Y'all do it. That is the work that you have. Mi amigo y yo somos perezosos. Perezoso lazy. So the command, don't be lazy, no sean perezosos. Don't be lazy. So ser has that imperfect, irregular subjunctive. Now we can give commands to ourselves. Kind of like saying, let's do something or let's not do something. ¿Quiere usted jugar al tenis conmigo esta tarde? You want to play tennis with me this afternoon? Sí, juguemos al tenis esta tarde. Juguemos. Jugar, used with a. Hard G, we have the silent U to preserve the hardness of the G. ¿Quiere usted estudiar italiano conmigo esta tarde? ¿Quiere usted estudiar italiano conmigo esta tarde? Sí, estudiémoslo esta tarde. Estudiémosla. Lo. In this case. And we have to write the accent to show, because estudiemos is stressed on that syllable. We add the syllable, we add the accent. Now number 4, interesting. ¿Quiere usted ir al concierto conmigo mañana? Sí, vayamos. Let's go al concierto mañana. But they put that in parentheses. And they put vamos, which literally is we are going. But it's used in the let's go sense. So that's why they had the vayamos in this case. Which is strictly what we would think to use, but this is used almost as much, if not more so. Not to be confused with number 5. ¿Quiere usted ver televisión conmigo esta tarde? Sí, veamos televisión. Veamos, from ver. A bit irregular, because the indicative we are seeing, vemos. You would think, well, okay, we'll just change this vowel. Then we'd end up with vamos. So we have to have this ea with there in the subjunctive. Languages have a way of developing their own ways of distinguishing otherwise confusing, at least confusing similarities or identical forms. Now, vamos just happens to be used like vayamos, which is the let's do it. But so if we were to say vamos al cine, that can mean vayamos al cine, let's go to the movie, or vamos al cine, we're going to the movie. But vamos can be used for vayamos, just one of the few times when you can just use the straightforward indicative and mean the same thing as you would otherwise require the subjunctive. Let's look at number 11. ¿Quieren ustedes levantarse temprano el domingo que viene? Y'all want to get up early next Sunday? No nos levantemos temprano el domingo que viene. What's that mean? No nos levantemos. That's not, we're not going to. That is, let's not. It's a command, let us not. Let us do something, let us not do something, in this case. No, let's not get up early next Sunday. And along with that, on number 12, you all want to get up late next Saturday? Yeah, let's get up late next Saturday. Levantémonos. Levantémonos. We drop the S on mos. Remember, levantar means to raise, and levantarse with the reflexive means to rise. In other words, raise yourself. So get up out of bed is levantarse, and pick up your folio is levantar. In English, the difference between raise and rise. Again, this number 13. ¿Quieren ustedes pedir algo en la cafetería? Sí, pidamos. Where would you get the PID? It was from pido, the first person singular of the indicative. So that's where those forms derive from. So, someone tell me what I would say in Spanish. Oops, I'm not even plugged in. Hope you could have heard me. Is that better? I must have stepped on my wire. Okay. So, what was the question? Let's speak. Let us speak. Hablamos, with an A, we are speaking. Hablemos is let us speak. Okay? In other words, let's speak en español. Hablemos en español. Number 4 in B shows you that they put vayamos in parentheses and use vamos al concierto. So the question was, ¿Quiere usted ir al concierto conmigo mañana? You want to go to the concert with me tomorrow? Sí. Let's go tomorrow. Let's go. Either vayamos or vamos. This is the only one where you can use the indicative instead of the subjunctive, because vamos a means the same thing as vayamos a. It would be almost stilted to use vayamos in the case like let's do something. Not to be confused with ver. ¿Quiere usted ver televisión conmigo esta tarde? Sí, veamos televisión esta tarde. Now, in English, we see movies, but we also watch movies. Normally, when we're talking about television, we're watching television. We're not seeing television. But in Spanish, they use ver, to see, for both. Mirar, to look at, is more in Spanish like really actually study or examine or pay attention to, something like that. So, ver concierto, ver televisión, ver película, They don't use mirar, to watch. They use ver, to see. Just the way it is. That's beyond vocabulary, right? It's the usage. So all of this section B has the alternates between the yes and the no, let's do it. Yes, let's do it. No, let's not do it. For example, number 9 and 10. ¿Quieren ustedes volver a casa ahora mismo? Y'all want to go home right now? Sí, volvamos a casa ahora mismo. Yeah, let's go home. Let's return home. Volver is to go back, come back. Number 10. ¿Quieren ustedes escribir un examen mañana? Now, in Spanish, they don't take exams. They write them. So, that's a written exam, of course. So, do you want a test tomorrow? No escribamos un examen mañana. No, let's not write an exam tomorrow. Let's not, in English, take an exam. They also use, instead of write an exam, they use the verb sufrir, to suffer. So, how would we say, let's take an exam using this verb? Let's take the exam. Suframos. Let's do it. Subjunctive form. ER-IR verbs use the A in the subjunctive. Our hour's up. How quickly we come to this point.
We do have a question, again, just about the chart. So just to clarify, we should email you our email addresses to get your chart.
That would be a good idea, yes. Please do that. That way I know I have your address. And you got mine. Does everybody have mine? Anyone not write it down? Okay. Thank you for your attention and your forbearance.